Anarchy reigns when an unknown toxin turns the peaceful citizens of Ogden March into bloodthirsty lunatics. In an effort to contain the spread of the infection, authorities blockade the town and use deadly force to keep anyone from getting in or out. Now trapped among killers, Sheriff Dutton and his wife and 2 companions must band together to find a way out before madness and death overtake them. Hey, what's up you guys, Bloody Jacob here to bring another horror movie review, and sorry if I stumbled over my words there in the premise. I was reading off of Google and sometimes their wording can be a bit, I don't know, it throws me off. But yeah, the Crazies came out in 2010, and it's actually a movie I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time, because I seen it, quite some time ago, probably closer to when it first came out. I remember being in, high school or middle school, I forget when it was, but I remember showing it to my brother. I showed it to my best friend at the time, and I got into horror, when I was pretty young, but when I was really getting into it, like Crazies, was like probably after like the first couple of handfuls of horror movies I watched the Crazies, and I really liked it, which is why I showed it, to my friends and my brother and stuff like that. And I just had my girlfriend watch it a few days ago, so I thought it was a good time to actually talk about it on the channel. And now it is a remake. I haven't seen the original film, I'll be honest, but just going off this movie alone, I think it's one of the more, it probably is one of the more solid remakes. I just have to assume, because I do think it's pretty good still. It does star Timothy Olyphant, who a lot of you know from Justified, which was a pretty enjoyable show for me. He's also, of course, on Deadwood. He's on Santa Clarita Diet now. A bunch of other stuff. I really like him as an actor, and he's a good lead for this film. I also think the actress who, Timothy Olyphant, I could honestly watch him in anything. And he's good here as the sheriff. Ironically, not a U.S. Deputy Marshal Raylan Givens like in Justified, but he's good here, and he brings a stability to the film as well as a bit of a charisma that I think the film definitely benefits from. And then the rest of the cast, not all pictured here, but our other sort of main characters. Radha Mitchell. He plays his wife Judy. I think she was actually pretty good. I think she actually had a pretty good range of emotion that I don't think other actresses could have reached. She could have been a lot more bland in that role. Then you have Joe Anderson as Russell, David, our main character's best friend. And he gets we get to see him go through a lot of development as well. There's all of these questions of who's infected, who's not, and how he handles that is actually the more compelling character bits of the movie. So I think he did a pretty good job with all that as well. And the movie itself has a pretty good pace. I mean, it is, let's see, 101 minutes, so basically an hour and 40. So pretty standard, pretty solid runtime there, and I think it works with that. It feels like it has a pretty good pacing to it from our characters first realizing that something's really off here, from like really weird but brutal occurrences with seemingly normal citizens in the town. To all anarchy, that we get eventually into the movie. And I actually wanted more of that. I thought we could have seen even more shit going down when, stuff starts really, really getting loose. But, there's still some really good moments of it. One of the earlier scenes before it gets to that point, though, is where you see this guy. He ends up locking his child and his wife in the house, and in a closet, and you can guess what he does with a gasoline tank. So things like that, and then there are some kind of, I don't want to say fight scenes, but as the sheriff and his wife and the others are trying to get through the town, you get a little bit of craziness in the Crazies, from some rednecks from the swamp running off guns on a truck and different things of that nature. I kind of want to see the family go through even more shit though, but it does all work out pretty well. And there's definitely a good feel, definitely a good sort of vibe to this movie that I definitely enjoyed. And like as my girlfriend was watching it, she thought, oh yeah, this is definitely like some government cover up or something like that, which it was, but the film kind of told you that from the very beginning. You see that vision from that look perspective from the satellite, saying containment and stuff like that. So the film wasn't really trying to hide that, and they introduced sort of the government element when they take our characters in not too late into the movie. So it obviously wasn't meant to be like a surprise or a twist in the movie. The film was definitely more about the paranoia and different characters' reactions to what's happening, which I think the film did pretty well. That said, though, the film is kind of predictable with how certain things play out. There's no like major twists with the movie. For the most part, who you think will survive basically does, minus maybe about one character involving after a car wash scene, I'll just say that. But besides that, there's no necessarily surprise character deaths. Things leave off on pretty straight note, but maybe a little bit of a wink at the end to something further going on, who knows. So it is a bit predictable, but overall I just think it's a pretty solidly done movie, and there's not really much to complain about, so that still kind of keeps it at a pretty good spot for me. And I think as far as these types of movies go, they've got more common. I think this is still one of the better ones of sort of its subgenre horror nature. So yeah, if I had to rate the Crazies, before that I also got to say the makeup for some of those Crazies, as people get more and more infected, is pretty good. It's not really overdone, but I think it really worked for the nature of the film and the kind of infection story they're telling. One more thing I wanted to mention about this. Let's see. There's one more thing I wanted to say, but now I lost it. Okay, yeah. George A. Romero. He, of course, did the original film. I gotta see the original film sometime, but he was an executive producer on this, so there was that. But yeah, anyway, my rating for the Crazies, I still think it's a pretty solid film, like I said. It's not, like, now I've seen so many, other horror films since then, it doesn't quite stand out quite as much. But I still think it's one of the better ones of its, again, sort of subgenre. So if I had to rate it, I'm giving about a solid B, or an 84%. So yeah, let me guys talk about the Crazies. Should I put the original film on fast track? Do you like the original film better? Do you like the remake better? Let me know what you guys like. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Also, what are some of your favorite remakes? Excuse me. What do you think are some of the best? My favorite's always been The Wolfman, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Let me know what yours are. Peace.